In 2003, the government of Haiti sent France a bill. Not a letter, not a demand for an apology, an invoice, calculated down to the last cent. $21,685,135,571.48. France never paid it. Most of the world never even heard about it. 19 years later, the New York Times spent months digging through 2 centuries of financial records, trying to calculate what one decision in 1825 had actually cost Haiti. Their most conservative answer? At least $21 billion. Almost the exact number Haiti had already written on that invoice. This is the story of the only nation in history born from a successful slave revolt, and the price it was forced to pay for existing. Every disaster hides a pattern. This one hides a receipt. Rewind to 1789. The richest colony on planet Earth is not India. It's not Brazil. It's a French colony on half of one Caribbean island, Saint-Domingue. They called it the Pearl of the Antilles. This one colony produced roughly half of all the sugar consumed in Europe and more than half of the world's coffee. It was the engine of France's overseas trade, and all of it ran on one input. Roughly 500,000 enslaved people worked so brutally that the colony constantly imported more just to replace the dead. In 1791, they rose up and understand what they were up against. First, the colony's own forces, then the British Empire, which invaded to grab the island for itself. Then Napoleon, who sent one of the largest expeditions ever to cross the Atlantic, led by his own brother-in-law, to put 500,000 people back in chains. The war lasted 12 years. Yellow fever and Haitian fighters destroyed the French army. Historians estimate tens of thousands of French troops died, and somewhere between 200,000 and 350,000 Haitians. Nobody knows the exact number. Nobody counted the dead carefully when the dead were slaves. But when it ended, the enslaved had beaten 3 empires. And on January 1st, 1804, they declared a new nation, Haiti, the first and only country in human history created by a successful revolt of enslaved people. That victory should be one of the most famous stories in the world. What happened next is why it isn't. Because for the next 21 years, the world simply pretended Haiti didn't exist. No major power recognized it. No embassies, no trade deals, no loans. Slave-holding nations, including the young United States, wanted no proof that a slave revolt could actually work, sitting right there on the map. So Haiti spent its first 2 decades armed, isolated, and waiting for the ships to come back. France kept the option of reinvasion openly on the table, and in Paris, the former plantation owners lobbied the king for compensation. Compensation for their lost property. And you have to understand what that word meant. The property they wanted to be paid back for was the people, the men and women who had freed themselves. Then, in the spring of 1825, King Charles X signed an ordinance, and a French baron sailed to Port-au-Prince to deliver it. He did not come alone. Behind him sat a squadron of warships carrying more than 500 cannons. The offer: France would recognize Haiti's independence if Haiti paid 150 million francs to compensate the former slaveholders. The formerly enslaved would pay the enslavers for the crime of freeing themselves. Haiti's president looked at the cannons and signed. Now here's where a ransom becomes a machine. 150 million francs was, by modern estimates, roughly triple Haiti's entire economy. The first installment alone was about 6 times the government's annual revenue. Haiti simply did not have the money. So France's bankers offered a solution. In October 1825, Haiti borrowed 30 million francs from a Paris bank to make the first payment. The bank kept 6 million of it as commission. Haiti received 24 million, owed 30 plus interest. Follow that money carefully, because this is the trick. Haiti was now paying France for its freedom and paying French banks for the loan it took to pay France. Historians call it the double debt. And for the next 13 years, Haiti ground under it. The government squeezed taxes out of farmers who had been enslaved a generation earlier. Payments slipped. France grumbled and threatened. Then in 1838, France generously cut the total to 90 million francs, in a document actually titled the Treaty of Friendship. 60 million still to go, stretched over 30 more years. And when Haiti fell behind again, new loans appeared, each with fresh interest. And by the 1870s, French banks were skimming roughly 40% of some loans in commissions and fees before a single franc reached Haiti. Step back and look at the machine, a country taxing its poorest citizens to pay a loan, that paid a loan, that paid a ransom for a freedom they had already won on the battlefield. The ransom had become a subscription. And when France was finally mostly paid, the debt didn't die. It just changed hands. December 17, 1914. 8 United States Marines walk into the National Bank of Haiti in Port-au-Prince, box up $500,000 in gold, and carry it onto a ship called the USS Machias. The gold sails to New York, into the vault of the National City Bank. Why? Because the bank wanted control of Haiti's customs revenue, and Haiti had said no. Within a year, U.S. Marines occupy the country. They will stay for 19 years, running Haiti's finances, rewriting its constitution, and directing its budget toward one priority above the others: the debt payments. In 1922, Haiti's remaining debt is refinanced through Wall Street, and the National City Bank absorbs Haiti's national bank entirely. The country's central bank is now a private American bank. So trace the whole chain. A ransom demanded by a French king in 1825 becomes loans to French banks, becomes bonds held on Wall Street. Haiti makes the final payment on the last descendant of that ransom in 1947 to National City Bank, a company you know today as Citigroup. From the Warships to the last wire transfer, 122 years. So what did that actually cost? In 2022, the New York Times put a team of reporters on that question for months. They went into archives in Paris and Port-au-Prince, pulled 2 centuries of ledgers, and traced every payment they could document. Haiti paid roughly 112 million francs on the indemnity itself, about 560 million in 2022 dollars. But that's not the real number. The real number is what that money never got to become. Money that leaves never compounds. The schools it never built, the roads, the hospitals, the businesses, the growth on the growth. So the Times asked a team of economists a simple what if. What if those payments had just stayed in Haiti? Their most conservative answer: the economy would be at least $21 billion larger today. Under more generous assumptions, as much as $115 billion. A separate academic team ran their own numbers and landed around $51 billion. The estimates disagree on the size. None of them disagree on the direction. And to be honest about it, the debt is not the only reason Haiti struggles today. Occupations, dictators, and disasters all took their cut. But every serious estimate agrees on this. For over a century, the poorest country in the hemisphere was quietly wiring its future to the richest ones. And here's the pattern, because Haiti was not a glitch. It's the cleanest example of a playbook. When you can't recolonize a country with an army, you can recolonize it with a balance sheet. Debt for recognition. Loans with the commissions carved out up front. Customs houses controlled by foreign creditors. A flag on the capital and a lien on everything under it. Sovereign on paper, garnished in practice. Once you see it everywhere in that era. And you'll notice nobody wants to talk about the receipt. In 2003, when Haiti's president demanded restitution, he was out of power within months, and the new government withdrew the claim. In 2015, a French president stood in Haiti and promised to settle the debt France owed. His aides corrected him within hours. He meant a moral debt. Only in 2025, 200 years after the Warships, did France officially call the ransom what it was: unjust. A commission of historians is now studying it. Reparations were not on the table. Here's the part that stays with me. Haiti never lost the paperwork. The ordinance from 1825 still exists. The loan contracts with the commissions still exist. The payment ledgers, franc by franc, year by year, still exist. The New York Times published the entire dataset online, open to anyone. Which means this isn't a mystery or a myth. It's math, sitting in public, waiting. 200 years ago, a nation of people who freed themselves was handed a bill for their own freedom, and they paid it for 122 years, and the world called that peace. So this weekend, while one country celebrates its independence with fireworks, remember that another one is still waiting on the refund for theirs. Every disaster hides a pattern. This one hides a receipt, and the receipt is still on the table. If you want more case files on how nations collapse and the patterns behind them, they're right here on the channel. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.